Hi there, Cancer. Welcome to your March 2018 Life Path reading. It's Raina here. This is kind of more of a thought-provoking, hopefully, type of reading than telling you what's going to happen. I want you to draw connections to your own life and just imagine for yourself what you can accomplish in the future. And I'm not talking about type A career goals. I'm talking about, I shouldn't have said the word accomplish. I meant maybe manifest, or what you can create for yourself, the type of life that you want for yourself. And you know, it's funny because as I say this, I'm kind of censoring myself, thinking, oh, like you just have the perfect life and everything. You're such a great co-creator that you're just in your dream life, right? Because there are a lot of things that I would like to have happen in my life. Having said that, it's all part of a process. And a lot of times we have to undo a lot of conditioning, don't we? About what is possible for us. Especially if you've been raised by parents or other types of guardians who kind of instill in you that you have to be practical. You have to like, if you're going to major in something in college, it has to be something where there is a demand in that field. And, you know, hey, that seems pretty logical, especially nowadays when college is so expensive. But when you think about it in, you know, with the big picture angle, it's like you have to go into a profession, do a job that you have no interest in just because there's a lot of those jobs. Does that sound to you like a recipe for happiness? It doesn't to me, unless having money and feeling that illusion of security is so all-pervasive that you are willing to do just about anything to get there. And yeah, there are people like that. But I think we're waking up from that slumber. And I think a lot of people aren't satisfied with just the same old, same old. They want to be happy. And that desire, that wanting, I think will be a vibrational match to something in life itself. I think that if you want something with all your heart and mind and soul, that it can't help but show up. Now, it may take some time, but I think that it's always a possibility, especially if you're working in that direction to make it happen. And you're not being counterproductive, obviously. So what I'm going to be doing is picking a card from the Law of Attraction deck just to kind of give an affirmation for the reading, and then I'm going to pick 3 oracle cards, and I'll tell you about which ones as I go along. No doubt. That was a band. I will eventually achieve success because I don't allow myself to doubt. I mean, you can say that about any area of life, really, when you think about it. That too much doubt creates a sense of insecurity within yourself, where you feel like you kind of like, what's the word? Question everything that you want. Especially if it's something that hasn't been easy to manifest. And I think that's one of the worst things that a person can do. If you have a dream, and maybe somebody's planting doubt in you, maybe it's coming from outside of you, That's also a thing to watch out for other people's naysaying. But if you have a dream, you might want to keep it close to your vest, because other people sometimes get threatened by people's dreams, even people that they care about, because it highlights that they're not trying to make themselves happy, and that they're kind of on automatic. So it works in that sense too, where you might be having somebody planting doubt, or maybe multiple people planting doubts in you. Oh, wow. You know what's interesting about the summer solstice? Look at, isn't that a beautiful card? I don't know if I've ever drawn this card. I want to tell you something, Cancer, and this is moving a little bit ahead of time here. But, well, first of all, this is very synchronistic, because that's your solar return when the sun goes into Cancer. It's usually, I think, the 20th or the 21st of June. That happens to be, the time when it goes into your sign. And that's what we call the summer solstice. I mean, it's that time of year. So maybe something's going to happen this summer, because you know what? You have a solar eclipse. And this is actually happening in July, on July 20th, at 20 degrees of Cancer. And it's interesting too, the number 20, because this is an 11 universal year, and usually they don't reduce master numbers, but it's a higher octave of the number 2, I believe. And so you've got that idea of maybe for some people this is even your twin flame situation, the divine lovers, the karmic lovers. The divine lovers are also Venus and Mars, so I don't want to mix up my terms, but yeah, I mean, maybe something's going to happen this summer that is going to propel you and give you a lot of opportunities towards the second half of 2018, because the actual date of the solar eclipse is not as important as the aftermath, so for several months even. So okay, well, I can't wait to read what that says. And then that was the Earth Magic deck, or was that, which one was that? Yeah, Earth Magic. So let's do this is the Energy Oracle. This is they read reverse cards for this particular deck, so it's reverse victory card, which is probably like the Six of Wands in reverse in the tarot. And I have a feeling it's not really that negative, because it's such a positive card in the upright position, so it should be pretty good either way. And the last card that I'm going to pick is Sacred Self. I got to figure out how to pronounce that. The Keepers of the Light. That's the Keepers of the Light deck. Okay, let's start with that Summer Solstice card, which I'm very interested in. By the way, an eclipse, a solar eclipse, is a very powerful new moon, so it indicates very powerful new beginnings. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? I just don't know if I'm going to be doing these types of readings every month, so I just wanted to let you know in advance. I'm trying to figure out why it's not showing up here. Sorry that I have to read from this book, but it's just, there's just too much information that I can't just kind of wing it. The words, and it says radiance underneath. The word solstice originates from the Latin word solstitium, which means stationary or stopped, stiti, and sun is sol. This is because twice during the solar year, the sun appears to rise and set in the same place for several days. It seems to be taking a much-needed rest before making the next circuit across the sky from one solstice to the next. Its ceaseless, predictable certainty having existed since before the time of our ancestors. There are stories in many cultures that personify the sun as a deity, either male or female, often riding the sun across the sky in a boat or chariot. With the summer solstice comes the culmination of the sun's travels that have led to the longest days of the year. The light is now at its fullest and has provided its own brand of nourishment to the land and to all of its inhabitants. Celebrations and ceremonies abound. Passion and playfulness are themes. We feel an innate desire to be outdoors in the natural world and reap the benefits of the longest days of the year. We instinctively seek the light, and during this cycle there's an abundance of it. Now, of course, if you're from Australia, I just realized this, you're thinking, yeah, right. You're having a winter solstice. And so I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Let the radiance of the sun inspire your inner radiance to shine forth. Release your concerns about what may happen in the future and focus on appreciating everything you have that is good and right. Allow Father Sun to take away your worries and cares. Do something physically active to stimulate your inner light. Dance, sing, but most important, get outdoors. Do not allow any negative thoughts or habits to stop you. When you are in love with life, you naturally radiate that love. During this part of your cycle, your capacity to love is greatly amplified. In one of those supreme ironies of life, the more love you give, the more returns to you. It starts by allowing the radiant being you truly are to be expressed into the world. Smile a little more. Notice the beauty of nature. See the humor in the paradoxes of life. Show your love, especially to those with whom you are closest. Then smile even more and watch how the world around you lights up. Okay. That's slightly corny, isn't it? I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I wanted to say something about this myself. I could be thinking about Australia, thinking about the Southern Hemisphere. And I hope I don't embarrass myself with ignorance, but I'm not sure about how, if there's any place in Australia that is, where there is snow, because I know it's I think it's kind of where Lemuria used to exist. So I know that there are tropical places and things like that. I'm probably really embarrassing myself. I know there are deserts and all that stuff. So chances are there isn't anything like that based on where it is geographically. Because that's like saying, is there snow in the Philippines? I don't know, though. I mean, in the mountains? I don't know. Okay, anyway. If I come across as ignorant, I'll accept it. But anyway, I do know that there are places in Australia that get cold, what we would consider kind of cold. So having said all of that, when we talk about darkness, I remember just a few months ago when we had the winter solstice in America. And several days later, I mean, we had a real cold snap where it was below zero in the Midwest. And, that's Fahrenheit. So it would be way colder than even that in Canada or Europe. So I remember going out one day, and it was probably only like about 5 degrees, and it was dusk. I went and bought some art supplies or something, and I was walking home in the dusk, and I was thinking how beautiful it was. And I felt like it was getting lighter, and it was only it was still December. So I don't know if I was imagining things or if it really does start to get lighter right away, even if it's 10 minutes difference. So to me, when you start noticing, if you associate light with positivity, that can really be something that boosts you. And of course, when we are going to this time right now, we're building up to the greatest amount of light. And that energizes us too. But if you're living in a place where it's cold at the time of the summer solstice, and maybe even right now it's getting cold, don't stop going outside. It's amazing to me how many people, they will only go outside whenever it is nice out. And I don't drive, so I'm riding my bike or I'm walking. And it's like all the people who are posers are coming out in the spring when it's 70 degrees, you know, when it's perfect. And if it's like any other time, they're not. And I think, gosh, you're wasting this time. Walk in a park in the winter when it's like 10 degrees outside. Bundle up. That's all. Bundle up. And you will feel that. You won't get cabin fever. You won't get that thing SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder. If you are getting into the light, I've even done sun gazing. I'm not like just for a second, but I stared into the sun at the solar eclipse. Do things, I'm not telling you to stare at the sun, but I'm just saying I try to embrace the sun, you know, at all times. Okay, so the next card is Victory in Reverse. Yeah, because this is probably connected to the Six of Wands because of that laurel, I was going to say that laurel leaf, that laurel wreath. That laurel wreath. Oh my God. It's like early in the, well, it's not that early. I don't know what's going on with me. Okay, let me see. The Victory card reverse signals a delay or reversal in a hoped-for outcome, whether it's in personal change or external achievement. Success may have been eluding you for some time, but don't despair. You may need to restructure things, reevaluate or release one specific outcome and set your sights on another. Whatever's going on externally, remember that the equanimity of peaceful surrender can often be your greatest victory of all. Affirmation: I'm achieving great things within myself and in the world. I see myself as a success in many wonderful ways, even now. And, you know, it's funny that I got that sun, because the sun in astrology, or let's just say the tarot, represents success too. And I was thinking of the reverse sun card, which is kind of like this as well, where it can be partial victory or it can be delayed. In this case, it might be more of delayed victory, but it's still not a negative thing. We are having a retrograde, a Mercury retrograde in March, starting on March 22nd and going until to mid, April. So for you, this is going to be in your career sector. Hello. There you go. Wow, that's really awesome. So, I mean, I don't mean a delay is awesome, but that it dovetails so nicely like that. So the great thing about this Mercury retrograde is that Mercury goes direct on the same day that there's a new moon in Aries. So it's retrograding in Aries, Mercury. And then it goes direct on the same day there's a new moon. So it's almost like this green light from the universe that now all systems are go. So just be aware if you start to notice things slowing down, and the shadow period can even be in a few days, probably by at least the 9th or 10th. And actually Jupiter is retrograding too around the 8th in Scorpio, fellow water sign. So, and that is occurring in your 5th house. If you have your own business, it may show up in that regard as perhaps some sort of slowdown. But again, all is well. Actually, even if there's a slowdown, you may get more opportunities that you missed the first go around. So don't despair about that if you have your own business, and that could affect the 5th house. Actually, that's another cosmic synchronicity or lineup, if you will, because when Jupiter goes direct, it's going to be on July 10th, and then that solar eclipse I was telling you about in your sign is 2 days after that, on the 12th. So it's like a 1-2 punch. So the last card, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. Shaniqua. I know it's not that. You know, yeah, in this book they have 2 different sections. That's what always trips me up. Okay. Oh, for the first time they don't have the phonetic pronunciation. Shekinah? I guess it's Shekinah or something. I don't know if I'm... Sacred Self. Unleash your spirit, express your gifts, dance to the sacred rhythm of life. The Shekinah is the twin flame of the Holy Spirit. It is the female aspect of the God particle or creation energy. She is more of an essence than a being, but has the ability to show herself in ways that we will understand. She is acknowledged in the sacred teachings of Judaism and also called the Sophia of Christ in the Gnostic Gospels. She is a powerful female voice of spirit who is here to bring about equality and to help the world move on beyond the male-only image of God. She reminds us that God is all-loving and all-accepting. Whenever she appears in a reading, she points out the change-makers, the love creators, and gift sharers of the world who are here to unite all hearts around the world. Don't feel the need to hold back or dampen your spirit. This is a time to celebrate. There is a feeling of dance and joy around you at this time as you fully recognize your splendor. You are a sacred being who defies gravity every day just by being alive and brings a sense of balance and equality to the world. And it's funny because, you know, with that summer solstice card, they were talking about that thing about celebrations and things of that nature. I have to think that this has something to do with Jupiter in the 5th house, because that's all about party celebrations. Jupiter can bring more of these to you, more fun times. This is a very good time. And even in capitalizing on fun as a career, as your own business, a party planner, for instance, can be featured when Jupiter's in the 5th house. But Cancer, to me, is a rather serious sign. A loving sign, but a serious one nonetheless. So anytime we all can lighten up and to really believe that you are deserving of pleasure, of joy, and my voice seemed like a joy, and anything that is just for fun. I was talking about, you know, when I was doing that victory card in the reverse position, they were talking about kind of, you know, I don't know if I even perceived it correctly, but I felt like this idea of forcing things too much. And you are a cardinal sign, so you tend to be very pushy when you want something, especially if it has an emotional meaning to you. But sometimes all cardinal signs can push too much in life, and they can't, you know, sometimes you have to hang back and just, like the affirmation, don't doubt, have faith that the universe has your back and that things are conspiring, the universe is conspiring on your behalf. And sometimes when you don't see that tangible proof, it's hard to believe that, and so then you double down your efforts and you try even more. And sometimes we need to just chill. And part of that chilling is also having fun and seeking pleasurable things, going to a play, going in quality, not just quantity, but quality interactions with others, quality entertainment, and the like. Okay, Cancer, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you'd like a personal reading, the link to my site is below. Take care. Bye.